Jank Brew is brought to you by Nissa, Ascended Animist, modern-day Craterhoof Behemoth. Nissa, Ascended Animist is a legendary planeswalker, deleted, which means you can use some Phyrexian mana to cast her for 5, 6, or 7. +1 creates an XX green Phyrexian horror creature token, where X is Nissa, Ascended Animist loyalty. Sometimes we'll be doing that. -1, destroy target artifact or enchantment. Every great once in a while, we'll be doing that. But mostly what we want to be doing here today is Nissa, Ascended Animist, -7, which says until end of turn, creatures you control get +1/+1 for each forest you control, gain trait. Much like the Craterhoof Behemoth decks of eras past, well, standards past, and eras present if you play other formats, we want to play Nissa, Ascended Animist, and win on the spot. And to do that, we need a lot of forests. So we'll move just straight down the line here to Vorinclex. Only other big piece of action we've got going on here. Vorinclex is a 6/6 with Trample and Reach for 5, 3/2 green. And when Vorinclex enters the battlefield, we search for 2 forest cards, reveal them, and put them into our hand. Probably won't use the flipped version, the Grand Evolution version of Vorinclex, but every once in a while it's there. So Vorinclex helps us get forests. Obviously, Invasion of Zendikar helps us get forests. It's a siege that says when it enters the battlefield, we search our library for up to 2 basic land cards, put them onto the battlefield tapped, and then shuffle. So that's a healthy way to ramp. We also have on the ramp front Topiary Stomper, just a pair of these. Because in multiples, they've become a little bit worse in this deck, especially in Best of 1, where we run into a lot of aggressive decks, and not being able to do anything until you have 7 lands often gets killed. So not as many Topiary Stompers as you may expect, but if you got your own Jank Brew, you may want to reconsider that. We're going to pause on the ramp front for a second and talk about staying alive. Tranquil Frillback is an interesting dinosaur here. It's a 3/3 for 3. When it enters the battlefield, we can pay a forest, 1 green mana up to 3 times. When we pay this cost, 1 or more times, choose up to that many from below. So we can destroy a target artifact or enchantment. Definitely sometimes helpful against main decks. Exile target player's graveyard, which is helpful against reanimate decks and the domain deck, honestly. And even sometimes for keeping Goblin Dude from flashing back. And gaining 4 life, obviously great against aggressive decks, red in particular. Sometimes we just need 4 life to not die. Just because this is Jank Brews, we've got a couple copies of Polukranos. This deck reminds me of Mono Green Devotion from the first Devotion set with Nykthos Shrine to Nyx. And I played Mono Green Devotion a lot during that format. So Polukranos is a throwback to that era. Not a bad Magic card. And again, just intended to keep us alive. 4/5 with Reach for 3. We got all the forests to play it, so we're running a couple of Polukranos. And then back to the ramp strategy. This is really the piece that fits the puzzle best with Nissa. It's Awaken the Woods, sorcery for green X, where X is green forest dryad land creature tokens. So these are not only creatures that can attack, but they count as forests for Nissa's -7 ability. Often the trick to winning. So other than that, we've got a little bit of jank at the front end. Armored Scrapgorger, good for staying alive, blocking some chumps at the beginning, and potentially exiling something from a graveyard. Got a pair of Bramble Familiars. This is probably the most questionable play. It's a creature. It ramps us. Really what we want to be doing is casting a turn 3 Invasion of Zendikar. And it's a 2/2, so it's got a decent attack if we happen to need to be aggressive. But very rarely are we going to use the Fetch Quest, as you'd see in some of the 5-color decks. Just not that great here, where we mill 7 cards, put a creature, enchantment, or land from among them onto the battlefield. All we really want late game is Nissa, and it doesn't hit that. So arguably these should be cut for something else. You decide. Llanowar Loamspeaker, pretty self-explanatory in our strategy here. Got a couple of Bushwhacks, either to make sure we have lands when we need them, or to just get that last forest that we might need. Got a single copy of Tamiyo, Safekeeping. Keep a relevant creature around, gain a little bit of life if we need to against red, which we see most often in Best of 1. And then a single copy of Tyvar's Stand. Again, these are certainly questionable and could probably be other cards We're going to roll with this. Back tech over. Let's get to it.